Hello and welcome to the Weaponized Body podcast. My name is Dr. Ryan Hewitt, and today I'm coming to you with a podcast about staying on track and staying weaponized through the holidays. This time of year, of course, being one of the most challenging times to stay on track with your workouts, with your sleep, with your habits, etc. And today I want to just share some tactics and some strategies and some things that might help some of you have a better time or an easier time staying on track this holiday season. It's the hardest time of the year, I find, for people to stay on track. This is the time of year where there's just temptations galore, parties and holidays, time off, traveling, all the things that tend to derail progress when it comes to staying in routine and staying in your healthy habits. Now, I want to say this with the caveat that I still am a proponent of making sure that you enjoy yourself. That you are enjoying the holidays, that you are loosening up your discipline a little bit, picking your spots, and making sure that you are not living like a monk or a psychopath who, watches every single thing they put in their body. There's something to say about making sure that you're still able to, enjoy yourself with your friends and your family and have a good time traveling. And I find that I've got a pretty good balance with this stuff. So, I'm speaking with some authority on this while maintaining a lot of my healthy habits. So it ultimately what it comes down to is just standards. So I'm a huge believer in setting standards for yourself and always rising to your standards as much as you possibly can. And when you do tend to slip off, away from those standards, as you have mechanisms to get yourself back on track quickly. I was speaking with a patient this week. I don't like the way I look or feel or perform. I'm getting chronically injured, so on and so forth. So it doesn't just happen overnight. And the holidays here are a time that a lot of us, tend to just write off when it comes to sticking with our standards and our lifestyle. And I'm going to tell you that this is the worst idea. A lot of people, they pick January 1st as here's where I'm going to get my shit together. Well, guess what? January is a lot easier to keep your shit together than to get your shit together. So if you have a lot of your habits and, your routines and whatnot pretty dialed in before January, you're going to have a heck of a lot easier time if you're wanting to tighten it up in the new year. So I'm going to give you exact strategies that I personally use and ones that I actually give to my patients and clients to make sure that they stay weaponized through the holidays, that they still enjoy themselves, and that they don't go too sideways. So let's talk about the mindset piece first. Is that I want you to think about the holidays not like a free pass. You're not getting a hall pass to just go buck wild, but it's also not prison sentence here, right? So it's not a free pass to get become a disaster. This time of year, most people have the same problem. They operate with this all or nothing mindset that as soon as the holidays come around, they're like, fuck it, I'm going to just drink, 10 drinks in a night. I'm going to, start drinking at every meal, during the Thanksgiving and then the Christmas party season and then the Christmas holiday, then the New Year holiday, and then, before you know it, it's not just the booze, then it's the cakes and cookies and ice creams and all these things that you're eating from making bad choices, from lowering your your inhibitions with booze, and then your sleep gets fucked up, and then the traveling just sort of it amplifies the challenges. And then all of a sudden you find yourself after New Year's, you're like, man, I am a disaster. I'm a mess. This mindset is the real enemy. The holidays are not an all or nothing. Again, I'm a huge proponent to make sure that you've got standards and you're trying to stick to those, right? So consistency as much as you can. And my philosophy is simple, just enjoy yourself, but remain intentional. So you don't need to drift so much as you need to decide. So this is what we're going to map out here. Okay. So let's talk about the non-negotiables during the holidays. For me, non-negotiable number one is I still train. I work out. I do not miss workouts during the holidays. Inevitably in the holidays, most of us, like, we have more free time. We have more time than we do when we're, regimented and in our schedule. So the problem is we just overschedule ourselves in the holidays when we're off work or we're not, our businesses are closed. So the thing is, you just have to be intentional about that. So when you train through the holidays, it's important because you still send yourself a powerful message that you're still the type of person that trains, that works out, that you take care of yourself. So it's going to be way less painful getting started in January if you just make sure you prioritize working out. And the thing is, you want to make sure that you're scheduling it. I suggest the morning, right? During the holidays, like dinners, family events, spontaneous chaos, mornings, you've got that time to yourself. So short workouts and abbreviated workouts still count. If you're someone who's in the habit of doing like 60-minute workouts like me, I understand this mindset that if you don't get that 60-minute workout in, you feel like it's not even worth it. So you can make this happen. So make sure you continue to prioritize the workouts through the holidays. You'll thank me later. So strategic eating, number 2. So here's the playbook I like to follow, is pick your spots. Pick the meals that you're going to want to enjoy. So let's say this is a Thanksgiving dinner or a brunch, or let's say this is like going out on a date night on that 4-day weekend. Let's say it's like you got holiday party coming up, you've got family gatherings, you got Christmas Eve. You have these times where it's like, hey, this is where I'm going to not necessarily let loose, but it's where I'm going to just be a lot less calculated and, eat some of the things that I enjoy eating that I don't typically eat. Again, it's not an all or nothing game. Just pick your special brunches and dinners, and then you get right back to the plan. I've used this consolidation strategy for a while that I find works. In other words, if you're in the habit of eating, let's say 3 meals and a snack, so you're a breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snack kind of person, I count 2 of my meals as one when I go out to eat. So whether that's on a date night or whether that's a Christmas dinner or whatnot, if I know I'm going to go have a couple of drinks. So I try to count 2 of my meals as one. If you combine these meals, that's going to be a way for you to combine those calories, because inevitably when you go out or you go to someone's place or you have a couple of drinks, you're going to take in more calories than you're used to in a meal. So I just count 2 meals as one. My rule number 3, you're not going to like this one, is that you're going to want to choose dessert or drinks, but not both. The disaster comes into play when you decide that you're going to have dessert and drinks, and then you're probably going to go home and snack later. So just pick one, right? So this strategy alone will save you hundreds, if not thousands of calories through the next 2 months. So it's dessert or alcohol, not both. If you want a drink, skip the dessert. If you want dessert, skip the drinks. And if you're going to drink, this could be number 4, is to be intentional about it. Like for me, I don't just drink for the sake of drinking anymore. Like if you're somewhere and there's like Bud Light, red wine, and whiskey, like I don't like any of those things anymore. So I just will choose not to drink instead of just like, oh, I'm going to socially drink these things even though I don't like them. And here's the other thing. You're not going to like this one either. I cap myself to 2, maybe 3 drinks max. This will save you a lot of pain the next day. And I guarantee, here's the thing, here's the mindset around it. Like the next day when you wake up and you go about your day, and let's say you ask yourself like, hey, was it worth having that 4th, 5th, or 6th drink? You're going to be able to have the vigor the next day to do your stuff. Here's the other trick, is to cut off booze at least 3 hours before you go to sleep. I joke that when we found day drinking, I understand now why people did this, because if you have a couple drinks during the day. And it's at least 4, 5, 6 hours before you go to bed the next day. It feels like you didn't even drink at all. It's those beverages that you have within like a couple of hours before bed where you're still metabolizing the alcohol when your head hits the pillow, and it completely fucks your sleep up. And it's the lack of sleep. It's the lack of your ability to get into those proper sleep cycles, right? The light, REM and deep sleep cycles where you don't recover properly. Your blood sugars don't recover, your brain chemistry, everything, your hormones, everything is quite sideways when you drink too close to bedtime. So you might not like that one either, right? So yeah, try not to stay up all freaking night drinking. You're not going to like the result from that. And here's my other rule is I try not to drink 2 nights in a row. So these are kind of bummer rules, but these are mine. You can play with these as much as you want, but these are my standards, right? Okay. So rule number 5. So I try to make sure that I'm prioritizing protein through the holidays. I can't tell you how many consultations I do with lab work that, this discussion is involved. It's like almost everybody, especially women, making sure you're prioritizing protein with your meals. Protein is critical, not just for muscle protein synthesis, recovery. It's also very satiating. It's good for your blood sugar. So keeping your protein high during those meal times during the holidays is going to make everything easier for you. Make sure every meal has a protein component to it. The size of your fist kind of deal. Thank me later. Okay, so let's talk about sleep. This is actually the secret weapon through the holidays. So most people think it's like the workout, the food and booze, but it's actually sleep. So alcohol is one of those things that will destroy your progress through the holidays. But part of the reason that it does is because it trashes your sleep. So it's the later nights, it's the erratic mornings and starts to your day, it's the inconsistent routine. So this actually wrecks your hunger signals, increases your cravings, it disrupts your recovery and actually kills your motivation. So here's my weaponized approach to making sure you stick with your sleep schedule during the holidays. The trick is to try to keep your bed and wake time within a 1 to 2 hour window of where you typically either go to bed or wake up. Okay. So if you normally go to bed at 10 p.m., for example, try not to push it later than 11 or 12 p.m. All right. The next day when you wake up, I guarantee you there's never a time where you're like, fuck, thank God I stayed up till 1, 2, or 3 in the morning. That was so worth it. Most of the time it's not. So try to get to bed within 1 to 2 hours of your typical window. You will, you'll feel it for days. If you completely, you blow your bedtime by 5, 6 hours, that's going to kill you for a couple of days. And keeping your morning routine intact, I find is really powerful. So if your morning routine involves hopefully something along the lines of hydration, getting that low level light exposure into your eyeballs, maybe go for a little walk in the morning, protein. So it just anchors your physiology and keeps you on track. Now, speaking of travel, so trying to keep your sleep on schedule during travel is more difficult. So when I travel, I bring an eye mask, I bring earplugs just in case, and making sure that I pack my magnesium glycinate. I'm not someone who takes melatonin, but if you're a melatonin taker for overseas travel, bring it. And then lastly, I mentioned this a couple times already, the alcohol strategy, making sure that alcohol cut off 3 hours before bed. No exceptions. This will protect your sleep more than anything. All right. So let's talk about some stuff maybe that didn't fall into the food, booze, and sleep workout category. I want you to consider hydration. So for me, I get one of these 64-ounce containers. That's a bit of a pain in the ass, but I crush 2 of those a day. So I get a gallon a day in. Whatever your habit is, if you have a water target, make sure you're continuing to hit those water targets through the holidays. My suggestion is most people do better with closer to 100 ounces than not. So anywhere between like 80 to 120 ounces is usually where kind of the average adult human lands. It's going to help you keep you like more satiated, healthier, that applies especially during the holidays when the tendency is to overeat, is when you eat a meal that's you feel really full and you're satiated afterwards, you're going to get sleepy. The best thing for you to do instead of taking a snooze is to take a walk. There's lots of great research out there that shows postprandial walking, which means walking after you eat. It lowers it improves your insulin sensitivity, lowers your blood sugar, improves your digestion, which impacts your sleep, which gives you less bloating and digestive problems, and so on and so forth. So walking after meals is actually a really powerful way to make sure that you stay on track in the holidays. You're not going to like this one, but I have a standard of mine that I just don't snack. Everywhere you go in the holidays, you're going to see like snacks galore. Every party you go to, there's going to be these charcuterie boards and chips and dip, snacks everywhere. Like if you're going to snack as one of your planned parts of your, let's call it a cheat meal or your day, go for it. But if you're constantly snacking during the holiday, like if you got this crap in your house, for example, you got the cookies and the cakes and the crackers and the cheese and then all that stuff, and it's around all the time, you're going to eat it. So just try to get that stuff out of sight. Try not to snack, try to stick to meals. And then, the times where you're going to loosen up a little bit. So the consistent grazing through the holidays will add more pounds than anything else, other than, I guess, if you're drinking also. So hundreds of mindless calories. You'll never be like happy about those like 3 cookies you ate the next day. Be like, damn, that wasn't a good call. But again, enjoying yourself, loosen it up. Here and there is great, just not the consistent mindless grazing. Here's a standard that I have is I and my wife probably thinks I'm a dick because of it. We do not ever accept leftovers to take home. We do not take leftovers home. We don't take cake home. We don't take cookies home. We don't take even leftover food. We politely decline, like, no, thank you. This will go to waste. We won't eat it. Please give it to somebody else. We do not take leftovers home. Have your holiday meal, have your enjoy yourself, but just don't take it home to enjoy yourself again. Stress management. A lot of people get stressed out during the holidays. It can be a stressful time, especially for those who are trying to make the holiday special for everybody. And they're planning and preparing and cooking and baking and scheduling and shopping and running around like they're fucking chicken with their head cut off and presents and wrapping. You're going to go for a walk by yourself for 10 minutes. You're going to start saying no to unnecessary obligations, and you can take micro breaks. I think those are very powerful when you just give yourself the separation. You just say, hey, listen, I got to take 5, don't bother me for 10 minutes. I'll be right back. Go for a walk, just go to another room, lock the door, do some breath work, come back. You'll find that you'll be a completely different human, who is, more cool headed and going to make better choices. So sounds silly, I know, but try it. It's very powerful. And lastly, of course, getting back to the workouts, the minimum effective dose, right, during those training days where you either don't feel like it or you're a little sideways in your energy and you stayed up late and you had a few drinks and you slept in, just hit something like 20 squats, 20 push-ups, 20 pull-aparts with your band and repeat that 3 or 4 times, 15-minute workout. You'll be happy you did it. It's something, it counts. So in closing for this holiday special Weaponized Body podcast, so my take-home message to you is the holidays don't need to derail your progress unless you let them, right? So staying on track, again, is not about perfection. It's all about the intentionality. It's all about, trying to hold and hit your standards with intention. So making sure you're working out. Most of the meals you're eating are your clean meals. You're strategically enjoying the special ones. You're drinking consciously, only when, they have a drink you're actually going to enjoy. You're going to keep your sleep as consistent as you can. You're going to hydrate, walk, manage your stress, and keep that routine anchored. You don't need to be like a Shaolin monk, right? You don't need to be, of course, like the maniacal person, right? You just need to have enough discipline that's going to keep you on the right track where you're not going to gain that 15 pounds over the holidays. And it's not going to be so difficult for you to get going in January. If you do decide like, hey, this is time for a reset for me. I like to hit the new year like still not feeling like I need a reset. I like to hit the new year charged up with, what I'm going to accomplish in 2026. And, my health and fitness is not an anchor for me in that goal setting. So close the year strong, right? So thank you guys so much for listening. I hope some of this hit home. I know for some of you, this is like elementary. For others, this might be like, hey, I've never tried any of that stuff during the holidays. I've never been intentional in the holidays. I've never even tried to like have a workout schedule in the holidays. So my challenge to you is like, set some standards this holiday season and see what happens. I guarantee you will have a more enjoyable season because you'll come out of it feeling like you're not a toxic waste dump, that you're not like completely sideways when it comes to like hitting the new year, and you still will enjoy yourself. You'll still have a great time. Hit me with questions, comments. I appreciate anybody who's left reviews. Thank you guys so much. Love you guys for listening. And please share this if there's somebody who could use some tips during the holidays. So I appreciate you guys. As always, I will be hitting up another podcast next week, maybe a little earlier before Thanksgiving. So for those of you who are doing a little celebration early, be safe, have a blast, and I'll see you guys next week.